Good morning, everybody. Now, I first heard the phrase 15-minute neighbourhoods when I was on the London Assembly. And the idea of these things were that local councils would implement what they call low traffic neighbourhoods, or LTNs. And people then would be restricted from going in and out of those neighbourhoods because most of the entrances would be blocked off. But that everybody would have everything that they need within a 15-minute walk of their house. So essentially, it was discouraging people to travel outside of where they lived. So if they wanted anything, they would just go to a local shop or a local school or a local nursery or a local GP. Not that these neighbourhoods had all of those services in, because services have been run down for the last 20 years or more. So it was a bit of a joke because you couldn't actually survive just in your little LTN 15-minute neighbourhood. That caused all kinds of trouble when the lockdown period came along, and this fake Conservative government put up £250 million for local councils to implement temporary road blockages and low traffic neighbourhoods, which then they wanted to turn into permanent fixtures. So you had planters going up everywhere, blocking the roads, barriers blocking the roads, and this caused all kinds of problems for fire engines, for ambulances who couldn't get through to attend to emergencies, and then people who needed their cars because they're carers or because they're disabled found that their life was inconvenienced incredibly because they couldn't just get into their house with their car in the normal way. They had to go round a huge kind of detour, which actually increased pollution and increased the levels of pollutants in these neighbourhoods because cars had to travel for longer and there were more traffic jams. So it had the exact opposite effect of what people said it would do. They said that by creating low traffic neighbourhoods there would be less traffic. Actually, there's more traffic because there's more traffic jams. What's been announced this week in a couple of places in the UK takes that to an absolutely another level, a level which is really a draconian clampdown on freedom of movement for citizens in this country who should be allowed to move around the country as we will. You know, if you're a British citizen, you shouldn't be restricted from moving around your own country. You shouldn't be restricted from coming in or out of your country. You can come and go as you please. I'm all for controlling our borders and saying foreign nationals can't come in if we don't say they can come in. But if you're a British citizen, you should be allowed to move around freely. But this right is being curtailed, and two places in particular, Oxford and Canterbury, that I've heard of, all of a sudden are implementing zones in their cities. So Oxford, for example, is dividing, Oxford City Council is dividing the roads in Oxford into 6 zones, and they're going to give cars permits, and they're going to say to people who own cars, you're not allowed to go out of your zone in your car to travel to another zone more than 100 times a year, so about twice a week. And if you do, you're going to get a £70 fine. So people who you need to use their cars to travel every day to go to work or to go to college or whatever, or they're carers or they're disabled, you use your car for your job, for example, they're going to get horrendous amounts of fines because they're easily and very quickly going to go over moving out of the zone where they live 100 times in a year. So this is taking the idea of a 15-minute neighbourhood to a whole other level, because now they're talking about penalising people for leaving their neighbourhood or their low traffic neighbourhood 15-minute area zone. Before, the idea was, well, there would be one entrance, you go out of it, but you wouldn't be fined if you go in and out of it. Now they're going to fine you for going in and out of your neighbourhood more than a certain number of times a week or a year. Canterbury has also announced they want to do the same thing, dividing Canterbury City into 4 zones where you'll be fined for going in and out of your zone in a car and travelling to another zone. So you can go where in the orbit of the city, but you might probably not want to do that, because if you're going somewhere close, you could just walk. But to go to another part of the city, you'll be fined if you use a car. So they're saying this is to encourage active transport, active travel. So people will walk more, and they'll cycle more, and they'll use public transport more. Well, you know, that's great on a bank holiday in May or August. Everyone likes, you know, it's sunny. Everyone likes to get out and cycle more. And the people are promoting these kind of things. They always go, oh, we had more cycle use than ever before on August bank holiday. Well, of course you do, because nobody's going to work. Everyone's got the day off. It's sunny, and then people want to go out on their bikes and they want to go for a walk. So yeah, of course that happens on those days. But in a winter day where it's rainy and it's cold and it's windy, hardly anybody's going to walk or get a bike. And if you want to get public transport, it might not come for half an hour, and then you've got to go into the city, change buses, and get another bus to go where you want to on the other side of the city. It's just much quicker to take your car, and it's much less hassle to take your car. But they want to stop people from having cars and using cars. This is what it's all about. This is Agenda 2030 in action, and it's being implemented in local governments by local councils as well as the national government. So when people say, you know, oh, we can't do anything to stop this because, you know, it's just the council's doing it, the government's doing it, you can do something. It just needs all of us to act together in the same way to get into these positions of power on councils as well as national governments, to be able to put a stop to these things, and then to be able to open the roads up again so that British citizens will have our God-given right to drive a car. Absolutely. Yes, we do. We have the right, we have the freedom of movement in our own country, and nobody is going to tell me that it's wrong to drive a car in my own town and my own city. So all these people who are implementing the New World Order, Agenda 2030, can go and stick their agenda where the sun doesn't shine. But the thing is, the political parties at the moment who have been elected in the most recent elections, you know, the usual suspects, the Tories, Labour, Lib Dem, the Greens. In Scotland, you've got the SNP. They're all acting together because they're all signed up to Agenda 2030, the New World Order programme, the World Economic Forum's programs, the United Nations programs, and the programs of their various agencies. And the Heritage Party stands against them. We're the only party that does. So please, please come and join us in the Heritage Party, because that helps us. The more members we have, the more influence we have. And please also think about coming and standing as a candidate, whether it's for Westminster elections or in your local council elections. There are elections in these 2 cities in May 2023, in Oxford and in Canterbury, and in hundreds of other districts and boroughs across England and also across Northern Ireland in May 2023. So please come and join us, stand as a candidate, and we can bat this Agenda 2030 out of our local governments. We can do it together. The Heritage Party exists to do this. That's why it was set up. It's time to join us now to stop these things from happening and stop the curtailment of our freedoms by other parties who are against freedom in this country, and to restore the freedom which is ours by right. Join Heritage Party on heritageparty.org. Please give me a thumbs up for this video and subscribe to my channel as well. Thank you for listening. God bless you all.